seen by some in decades.
We just can't escape the heat.
Day one of dangerous weather for tens of millions of Americans, including in New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago.
It's going to be intense, long-lasting, and widespread. And we could see numerous record highs and lows fall this week.
Plus, as wildfires burn across California, the impact gusty winds could have on firefighting efforts. The CBS Evening News starts now. More than 80% of the country is facing scorching temperatures this week. From Arizona to Maine. Good evening, I'm Norah O'Donnell, and thank you for being with us. Summer won't officially begin until Thursday, but you wouldn't know it if you were outside today in these sweltering conditions. We're talking about 265 million Americans that will see temperatures hit 90 degrees this week. This massive heat wave covers nearly half the country, with 21 states under excessive heat warnings or advisories. Heat emergencies have already been declared in Boston and right here in Washington, D.C. And get this, more than 100 record highs are set to be challenged before the weekend. Meanwhile, California is once again battling dangerous wildfires. Near Los Angeles, strong winds and dry conditions are fueling the largest fire in the state so far this year. We have team coverage of tonight's big stories. CBS's Tara Molina will start us off with these brutal temperatures.
Tonight, a major heat wave is underway for millions. Excessive heat warnings are in effect all week long from Detroit to Bangor, Maine, with feels like temperatures well into the 90s and hundreds. The city of Pittsburgh could see its hottest 5-day stretch in 30 years, with temperatures soaring up to 95. Some schools in New York are sending kids home early because of the sweltering heat.
Not much you can do. The school doesn't really have air conditioning. It's not fair to the kids or staff to be in there when it's this hot.
In central Massachusetts, public schools will finish the school year early because of the heat. Their last day is tomorrow. Elevated humidity levels in the Northeast will add to the misery. New York City is expected to be one of the hottest, with the heat index close to 100.
This is extremely hot for June, and New Yorkers should not underestimate the heat.
Here in Chicago, temperatures already hitting the 90s. Food truck worker Emmanuel Ramos is dreading the week to come.
I don't really like the hot, so this is going to be very painful for me, but I'm going to have to do what I have to do.
Families also doing what they have to do to keep cool.
We're not used to something lasting this long, right? So, just trying to cool off. Brought my little one here downtown.
It's sweltering here in Chicago, and we will not see it cool down anytime soon. This heat dome will stay in place through the weekend as it moves east with temperatures in the 90s. Nora?
Headed this way, Tara Molina, thank you so much. Now to the California wildfires, where thousands of people are under evacuation advisories with nearly a dozen fires burning across the state. CBS's Carter Evans is outside Los Angeles, where more than 15,000 acres have burned over just the last 2 days.
Tonight, thousands of firefighters are battling powerful winds as flames erupt in southern and northern California. Hundreds of residents were evacuated in Sonoma County, several homes destroyed, and vineyards threatened in the heart of wine country. This fire, 60 miles north of Los Angeles, is the largest so far this year and briefly shut down one of California's busiest highways, Interstate 5. The ground is so dry and the winds so strong, it's now exploded to nearly 16,000 acres, destroying an auto repair shop and torching all these cars in just 10 minutes. As the wind picks up again, a massive firefight from the air, water drops, retardant, as hotshots battle on the ground to keep these flames from roaring back to life. All this happening with the surrounding hillside still deceptively green.
They are dried out. That wind and that high temperature has dried those out, so they're ripe for burning.
We're told many of the cars in this lot were here for repairs. They are all destroyed. That high wind red flag warning is now in effect through Tuesday, and the cause of this fire, Nora, is still under investigation.
Carter Evans, thank you so much. Israel's military paused its fighting for 11 hours along a crucial supply route in southern Gaza today, and it says it plans to do the same thing every day as part of a tactical pause to increase the flow of desperately needed aid. Now, the move comes as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu dissolved his influential war cabinet, CBS's Chris Livesay reports on these new developments tonight from Tel Aviv.
It was a coalition of rivals meant to sow unity in Israel after the Hamas attacks of October 7th and the conflict that followed in Gaza. Last week, that changed when Benny Gantz, the leading moderate opponent of the prime minister, left the war cabinet over the absence of a day-after plan for Gaza. The war cabinet now dismantled. That leaves Netanyahu only with the hard right as the linchpin of his support. The shakeup comes after Israel announced a tactical pause in the fighting, limited to 7.5 miles of this road in the Rafah area, during daylight hours only, to allow more aid for displaced people like Ibrahim Shaban al-Dadu. There's no aid, medicine, food, or water coming in, and even the sick people can't leave, he tells our CBS News team in Gaza. We're isolated from the world. But if this pause holds, it could at least address some of these overwhelming needs as the offensive continues in Rafah. Israeli forces say they now control 70% of this Hamas stronghold. The UN says 1.3 million people have fled the city since the fighting began. And as the Israeli public grows more impatient, says diplomat and staunch Netanyahu critic Alan Pincus.
Because they think it is 8 months. It's too long. There's no clear victory. There's no decisive victory that can be announced.
Now, it's early days for that pause, but so far UNICEF says they've seen no more aid than usual entering the Strip. And the humanitarian pier the U.S. built, well, it's down for repairs again due to rough seas. Officials hope it will be up and running later this week. Nora?
Chris Livesay, thank you so much. The presidential election is now 20 weeks away.
Ohio. Ada kulo.おなんとパンちゃん来ちゃった。 Iyo, sokon na, sokon.